Though it's no guarantee, if you win 6 games in a college football season, you're likely going to be invited to a bowl game. Sometimes there are rare exceptions when there are too many teams that qualify, so again, if you go 6-6, you might miss out, but for the most part, you win 6 games, you're in. So, needing only 6 wins to reach a bowl game, how did Louisiana Tech win 9 games in 2012 and not play in a bowl game? That's right, they won 9 games and didn't play in a bowl game. They weren't bowl ineligible, they weren't facing any penalties, so how did Louisiana Tech go 9-3, have the greatest season in program history, and miss a bowl game? Before we get started on the video, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post lots of great college football content here, so if you love college football, this is definitely the channel for you. And don't forget to turn on those notifications so you never miss a video in the future. Now, before we go in depth on how the Bulldogs won 9 games that didn't play in a bowl game, I think we need to go back and talk about their season before that happened. As I mentioned, Louisiana Tech won 9 games in 2012, which was only the 3rd time in program history they'd ever won that many games. Many considered it to be their best team ever. According to Sports Reference, simple rating system, a rating system that takes into account average point differential and strength of schedule, they had an SRS of 6.33, the best in program history. In addition to that, the Bulldogs also had the best offense in college football that season. They averaged more than 51 points a game, by far the most in the FBS. They scored at least 50 points in 8 of their games, including a 70-point outburst against Idaho. Colby Cameron was the quarterback for the Bulldogs that season. He threw for 4,100 yards and 31 touchdowns with only 5 interceptions. Kenneth Dixon was the running back, rushing for 1,200 yards and 27 touchdowns. Quinton Patton led all receivers with 104 catches, 1,400 yards, and 13 touchdowns. Louisiana Tech got off to a hot start to start the 2012 campaign. They won their first 5 games, picking up wins at home over Rice and UNLV, and on the road at Houston, Illinois, and Virginia. Not only were they playing quality opponents, they were beating them. Then, on October 13th came arguably the biggest game in the history of the program. Louisiana Tech was ranked number 23 in the AP polls, and they were welcoming the number 22 ranked Texas A&M Aggies into town. And yes, those Texas A&M Aggies were led by one Johnny Manziel. The Bulldogs fell in a deep hole early on as they trailed 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. At one point, they trailed the game 27-0. They put up points in the second quarter, but still trailed 39-16 at halftime. The Bulldogs inched their way back into the game, scoring 2 touchdowns in the third quarter to trim their deficit to only 16 points as they entered the final quarter. After forcing an A&M punt, Louisiana Tech drove 70 yards, capped by a Kenneth Dixon 21-yard touchdown run. They got the 2-point conversion, and all of a sudden, they trailed by only 8 points. It was a 1-possession game. On the following drive, Johnny Manziel threw a pick 6 in his own end zone. The Bulldogs failed to get the 2-point conversion, but still trailed by only 2 points. They wouldn't score over the next 10 minutes of the game, and a 70-yard rushing touchdown by Johnny Manziel with 2 minutes left looked like it was the dagger. On the first play of Louisiana Tech's next drive, Colby Cameron completed a pass to Quinton Patton for 62 yards and a touchdown. They got the extra point, and it was a 1-possession game. Speaking of Quinton Patton, how did he do for the game? 21 catches, 233 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Pretty good, I would say. With only 1 timeout, the Bulldogs essentially had to recover the onside kick in order to survive. They attempted the onside kick, and they got it. With plenty of time left, 1 timeout, and needing only 50 yards, the Bulldogs were in prime position to try and tie the game. With 38 seconds remaining, Colby Cameron completed a pass to Ray Hawley for a touchdown, 2-point game. Needing 2 to tie, Louisiana Tech called a timeout to drop a final play. And here's what happened.
Fade to the near side, incomplete!
They didn't recover the onside kick, and Louisiana Tech fell 59-57. This didn't stop Louisiana Tech though. The Bulldogs won their next 4 games and sat 9-1 on the season while being ranked number 19. On November 17th, they hosted 8-2 Utah State. Now, just like A&M, they fell behind early on. They trailed 17-3 at halftime and 41-24 entering the fourth quarter. But just like A&M, they rallied back. A touchdown from Kenneth Dixon made it a 10-point game, and then a touchdown run from Hunter Lee with 2 minutes remaining made it a 3-point game. Louisiana Tech forced Utah State to punt, and they got the ball back with a minute left. They started at their own 23, but drove down the field. They got into field goal territory and brought out kicker Matt Nelson to attempt a 32-yarder as time expired. He nailed it, and the game went into overtime. Utah State scored first in overtime, going up 48-41. The Bulldogs had 3rd and 3, needing only 3 yards to get a first down. and they couldn't get it. For the second time that season, they dropped to the Aggies and fell to 9-2 on the season. The Bulldogs dropped the final game of the season the following week to San Jose State. They lost by 9, so no real fireworks to close this game out. They failed to get a 2-point conversion that would have tied the game with 11 minutes left, so had they gotten that, who knows what the outcome of the game could have been. Alright, here we are. The Bulldogs finished the season 9-3. Time to go bowling, right? Well, here's where things took a turn for Louisiana Tech. The Bulldogs were actually invited by the Independence Bowl to participate, and Louisiana Tech declined. Now, supposedly, they refused to play against Louisiana Monroe, who's going to be the other team in the game, because the two have bad blood with each other. Louisiana Monroe finished 8-4 that season and were fresh off their best season in school history as a member of the FBS, but again, reports indicated that Louisiana Tech would hold out for other offers rather than playing ULM. And for them, an offer never came. According to Bruce Feldman, athletic director Bruce Van de Velde gambled and lost. According to him, he said, "We asked the Independence Bowl to let the games play out because we were told by the Heart of Dallas Bowl and the Liberty Bowls that they were very interested in us. The Independence Bowl called us on Saturday and put a deadline on us. We thought that there would be a spot open for us in one of those other bowls. We asked them to wait so we could vet those other options, but they wouldn't." Louisiana Tech head coach Sonny Dykes shared his thoughts on his team potentially making another bowl game. "We are very excited about our bowl game possibilities. Looking forward to finishing the season with a win. Go Bulldogs." And then, just a day later, Dykes tweeted this: "I'm heartbroken for our 31 seniors that have given so much for Louisiana Tech. They deserve to finish their careers in a bowl game." After the Independence Bowl's deadline for Louisiana Tech to accept their invitation passed, the Independence Bowl selected the Ohio Bobcats instead. On Sunday, December 2nd, the Liberty Bowl extended their remaining bid to Iowa State instead of Louisiana Tech. The Bulldogs did not end up playing in a bowl game, despite being the nation's top scoring offense. Here's what Louisiana Monroe's athletic director said about the entire situation: "I hate it for the kids, that's my only reaction. It would be great for our fans and alumni, and for all of North Louisiana and for our student athletes. Certainly, it would have been great from a financial perspective as well, but they have the reasons, apparently. You'll have to ask them." While being interviewed for a story in September, he acknowledged a current stalemate between the two programs after Louisiana Tech refused to play the Warhawks in football. After that, Louisiana Monroe prohibited all of its scholarship sports from scheduling the Bulldogs. Louisiana Tech does lead the all-time rivalry 30-13, but the teams haven't met since 2000. Louisiana Monroe, they joined the Sun Belt Conference in 2001. Now, this could have been one of the best bowl games of 2012. Many would agree that playing a rival in a bowl game would just be a ton of fun and really good experience for the student athletes. After all, isn't that kind of the point of a rivalry? To not like each other, have bad blood, and want to beat the other team? That's just me. Louisiana Tech was one of the best offenses we've seen in recent memory, and it's a shame we didn't get to see them take the field one final time. Now, there is frustration everywhere, and for good reason. For a lot of the players, they didn't get a chance to play in the final football game of their career. Louisiana Tech long snapper Josh Cuthbert expressed his anger on Twitter: "Love all my boys who are seniors especially. No bowl game at 9-3. Not too happy right now." He also tweeted, "Oh yeah, and way to go athletic director, #you suck," but deleted it shortly after. Now, it wasn't just the players who were upset. NBA Hall of Famer Karl Malone, who went to school at Louisiana Tech, voiced his frustration as well. "I am a Bulldog to the core. I am heartbroken and embarrassed that our university would do this to Tech Nation, to our football, and the staff. This is exactly what is wrong with our university. Now it's time to get former athletes to run our program. I'm 6'9", and I'm not hard to find." Just like that, the greatest and most exciting season in Louisiana Tech history had come to an end. The following year, the Bulldogs went 4-8. However, they turned things back around and have been pretty solid since 2014. Over the last 6 seasons, Louisiana Tech has gone 52-28, a winning percentage of .650. They've made a bowl game all 6 years and have won all 6 of them. They played in the Independence Bowl this past season. Luckily for them, they weren't scheduled UL Monroe. They played Miami, defeating them 14-0. Whether or not you want to blame Louisiana Tech for what happened in 2012 is up to you. If the Liberty Bowl or Heart of Dallas Bowl said they were interested and they were going to extend them an invite, it kind of did screw Louisiana Tech by not getting one from them. So I understand them from that perspective. It's also kind of wrong from the Independence Bowl replacing a 9-win team with a 6-win Ohio Bobcats team. When it's all said and done, whoever asks about the greatest teams to never make a bowl game, the 2012 Louisiana Tech Bulldogs will be right at the top of that conversation.